Chief on today, who has a lot of information. So we're hoping we're going to wait a little bit so that you guys can get on. But you definitely want to have maybe a notebook or, just something to jot down some notes so that you can do your own due diligence as well with the information that Chief is going to bring to the table today.
Yeah.
Um, you want to give him the stacking reminder, baby?
Yeah, definitely. So, like she said, we'll give a few minutes to let some people hop in the room. We're going to go over some very important issues today. While we wait, I'll just give us a rundown of some of the things we always want to be stacking, stacking, stacking. So I'll keep it quick. We got just a update of Bitcoin right now as it is Saturday, December 9th. We got 43,892 is the price right here. So we'll go over a quick one. Over the last 5 days, it is up 4.52%. Over the last month, it is up 19.58%. Over the last 6 months, we are up 65.74%. And year to date, we are up 164% year to date. Up 164% year to date, which is awesome. It is
Yeah, because
awesome.
I can't think of any other. Um, I can't think of anything else that performs at that level.
Right. And that is
Nothing performs at that level.
And then also I wanted to, because I just seen this earlier this week, as far as precious metals go, you have the gold to silver ratio is right around 80 to 1. So that is a large signal to be buying silver at this time. Even though we see gold has been going up, this is a good time to buy silver. The median ratio that people like to say, as we've seen Andy Scheckman, Mike Maloney, right around 40 to 1.
Okay.
So once you
Yeah.
get 40 to 1, then you want to start switching over and buying gold. So we're still halfway to that point.
I want some gold.
So yeah, keep on buying silver. Keep on buying silver right now. And as you watch that gold to ratio gap close, and you will be making money hand over fist, as they say.
I want to welcome Drupa Kunli, who said the truth is stranger than fiction. Is it Bitcoin's performance? Is that what truth is stranger than fiction? Let us know. And then EW and L, yes, we are back again. Remember, Chief wasn't on last night, but Chief has some significant updates for us today. I would call today a lecture day. So I definitely want you guys who are joining us now to grab a pen and a notebook. I'm about to get up and go grab mine. Yeah, that's my prayer journal.
Oh, okay.
My notebook's over there. That way, we just want to give you guys some time to stream into the room. As he gives the updates, Chief also gave us some articles related to this discussion, which you can find in the description box, the description link. Chief, let's give it about maybe like 2 more minutes before
That's
you
fine.
start to go in.
That's
I don't
all
know. Do you
good.
have any small updates you want to give in the meanwhile?
Nah, man, y'all putting a lot of pressure on me talking about, Chief Gray go in
You
and all
got
that
this.
shit. I'm like,
Nobody got no
golly,
respect for
man.
you.
I don't know if I
Nobody
can
got
do
nobody
it.
better than you.
I'm just trying.
KW1. Hi, sweetheart. How are you today? Yeah, we're back. Get your notebooks, get your pens. While we're waiting for people to come in this room, I'm going to go get my stuff.
Yeah, that's about the only updates I had. We're gonna we can go over a lot of other different price action, but the price action is positive for most things out there. Do you see anything? I see mostly positive price action as I'm
Oh
looking over
yeah,
at the prices. So
yeah.
everybody
It's
should be
been
doing very
positive.
well.
It's been positive for the past week, man. I mean, a couple weeks actually. It's been on
Okay.
an incline, and I think what it is just the news that the big boys is getting ready to jump into this space. I mean,
Mm.
a lot of we do not see, we as lay people. What's up, KW1? We don't see the gears getting greased. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We don't
Right.
see the wheels turning because they got us so tuned, they got us hyper tuned to now.
Mhm.
And what we have to understand is in this asset class, we got to look at this asset class from a 5,000 feet perspective.
Yeah.
You got to zoom all the way out and look at it we got to look at it for what it is. It's a new asset class, and it's a new asset class that is going to incorporate the legacy asset class, the legacy monetary financial system, the legacy digital, the legacy everything. And the thing about it, it ain't. We got to stop looking at it in terms of it's going to take all the way over. It's going to run side by side with the legacy shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be so the legacy, the laggard financial system will still be going on, and that will end up being a backup. As far as like if anything goes wrong, they'll still be able to do some things on the old rails. But with this new financial system and shift and paradigm that we going into, or that we are already currently in, it's it's going to be running. That's from everything that I'm seeing from the people that I look at online when it comes to these big like institutions that deal with finance. And I ain't talking about the YouTube influencers and all that, because some of them fools just be trying to get clicks and trying to get you hyped up. I'm talking about some of the actual fintech people. Like, let me see. I'm looking at my stuff right now. Give me a second, y'all. What was this? Like the Government Blockchain Association. That's a good one. Like when this stuff that I'm talking about, it's it's stuff that it's stuff that these big organizations are doing, and it's only like a couple views. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you a question right there, because just you brought up a great point that I hear a lot of people ask us sometimes. So I wonder what you would say. How do you vet the people and the information that you get? Because it's so much. Like you said, it's YouTuber influencers. There's different articles. How do you vet and know what you feel comfortable taking the information from, and who you think might just be looking for clicks, like you said?
You can do a lot of vetting right off the bat when you see their thumbnails on the screen. A lot of them when they got the, and they holding their hand up, showing you that, you can miss me with some of that shit, man. Because a lot of it is just to get you hyped up. You have to understand that, they trying to get as many people to watch so that their algorithm can be a little bit different and they can get more money from the platform.
Yes.
I'm starting to get more in tune to people. Shout out to Cypress X, Cypress X, digital asset investor. Let's see, Working Money channel. Stuff like that, because they'll when they do their research, they'll dig deep into different stuff and show you like links to these. They'll show you links to these different organizations like the Government Blockchain Association, Finextra, like Finextra, and other. Let me see. Other organizations like that. I'm trying to find these mugs. They all over the.
And I feel you on that. I like to. I like the macro economists. I like those. Lynn Alden.
Yeah.
Raoul Powell. People who have a history of working on Wall Street, who understand how things go down there.
Yeah.
I've always been a big fan of Max Kaiser. He's been off the internet for a while, but I always, going way back to the Kaiser Report, people like that who have that knowledge and information. And people who work in the industry.
Global Policy Institute. When you're talking about something like that, it's global policy. Like, they had one like a year ago. It's been a while, but they talking about policy. BAFT. That's the Bankers Association for Financial and Trade. I mean, these bugs, they had one a month ago, man, and it had 22 views. And they moving markets. They making policy and financial decisions for you without you even knowing about it. And you wake up one day and you like, oh shit, what happened? It's because they.
Because
Go
you're
ahead.
right. You're right. No, but you're right, because a lot of people sit around here on at CNBC or something, and you watch those shows, and I used to watch those shows back in the day. You know what I'm talking about, Squawk on the Street and all that stuff.
Yeah, man.
I used to watch Jim Cramer, but how long ago was that? 15 years. I'm listening to Jim Cramer.
And what's the
I'm gonna tell you right now, do the opposite of what Jim Cramer says, and you will be successful. Am I lying? Am I lying?
How do he still have a job? How does he have a job?
Because the reason why he has a job is because he's a fudder, man. He puts FUD in the market, and he'll tell you to do one thing when they doing a totally opposite thing. That's why when it comes to that network TV stuff, I take it at face value, man. I don't believe half of the shit that I see on there, man, because they telling you it's called television programming for a reason. They are programming you to think and believe what they want you to think and believe. When in all actuality, you can use common sense and discernment and read, and Kramer is something else, and put 2 and 2 together and come up with the correct answer, which is 4 instead of 3 or 1 that they want you to believe, man.
And they get, like you said, they get you because I don't know if this 15 years ago, I had his book, man. I read his whole book, about his career and how he got started and all this stuff. And they'll have you, that's why I say you got to vet the people, because you'll get off in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I always like to shout out people to help, so that people get directly to the source and the information without wasting time listening to people giving some misinformation. And
you are absolutely right. Yeah, so, and PFC Wells is right. Shout out to PFC Wells. Kramer is an influencer to the retail market, but he is influencing you to do the wrong damn thing, and that's why they got him saying the wrong shit. Take your money out of crypto. You don't want to. When BlackRock, what, a month ago, BlackRock, Larry Fink said Bitcoin is a flight to quality. Now, you got to understand, too, when they say Bitcoin, they ain't only talking about Bitcoin. They talking about Bitcoin and other digital assets that are going to be used in this next iteration of financial system that's coming up. And you have to find out what it is. It ain't going to be just Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is going to be that store of value. Bitcoin, and even y'all might disagree with me, but to me, in my mind, Bitcoin and Ethereum were the test subjects. They put that shit out back in 2009 and 2014 when Ethereum coming out. Was it 13? I forgot. Yeah, it's right around that time. But those were those were the ones to see if the masses would jump on it. I'm telling you, man, they knew what they don't. These people that we are talking about, when they do stuff, they are well planned. They know what they're doing. They know when they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, and they know how they want to influence you in order to get you to do that. And the reason why I say that is because how you going to have the CTO of a company called Ripple, which made the asset XRP, him, Jed McCaleb, who is with the Stellar Foundation, the Stellar Blockchain Foundation, and Arthur Prideaux, how are they going to be they came out and said it. They came out and said, we were active in helping to write some code for Bitcoin, saw some of the flaws, and we wanted to do something. We wanted to create something that would eliminate the flaws that it has. And when they say flaws, they ain't talking about the shit don't work. They're just talking about they wanted something that will be able to scale, so that when they bring in the equities, when they bring in the real estate, when they bring in all of these other big asset classes, it's going to be able to work, and they'll be able to jump on there, and they'll be able to do things at the speed of light, because that's what they want to do. They want a T+0 platform to where when you click a button, you're done.
So in that regard, I like that. I like that they do. And so one of the things I do sit around and I watch a lot of videos, read these articles and whatnot. I see a lot of people who still, like traditional finance, and they like to have what I call exposure to Bitcoin, what actually owning Bitcoin. So you see people who like to buy MicroStrategy,
Yep.
Grayscale Bitcoin, stuff like that. Even Cash App. What is Cash App known? It's Square, right?
Yeah,
Square.
Square.
So yeah, so people like to invest in things that invest in Bitcoin so that they
Yep.
have the exposure to the upside without actually owning the Bitcoin in a traditional finance way. What do you think about that?
That's why these ETFs is going to be so big, and that's why I think the market is starting to pick up speed right now, because the what's her name, Kathy Woods.
Kathy Wood, yeah.
They interviewed her, and they said, because she might be one of the first ones to get an ETF. Okay.
Yeah, she on it.
They interviewed her, and she said that, same thing as you were saying, people want exposure. And when you got people like her, BlackRock, Fidelity, JP Morgan, even though Jamie Dimon is talking his book saying that the government should shut it down, they ain't shutting nothing down. This asset class is here. When technology created or comes out, it's like a genie. It's hard to put it back in a bottle. It ain't gonna be back in a bottle because it's something that's gonna be useful, and they see it's something that's useful, and they can fine tune it to do what they want it to do and be how they want it to be. Yeah, it's gonna be some of us. It's gonna be some of us that benefit from it, but like we say in all the rest of the shows, there are going to be so many people that miss out because, one, they're gonna be scared. Two, they ain't gonna have time to research. Three, they are just not gonna be involved in the system. But people like us and people that's on the platform right now, that's listening and responding, and even if you ain't responding, if you just listening and paying attention, you're gonna be better off if you have some of these assets than you would if you don't have any of these assets. I'm telling you, it's 8.5 billion people in the world now, almost 9 billion people.
Yep.
The majority of those, so there's more people unbanked than that are banked. Like, there's more people that don't have regular bank accounts, or that go into a branch or whatever. That's the reason why they created these daggone cell phones, man, these smartphones. The smartphone, I'm telling you, they're gonna start giving smartphones out. It ain't gonna be like an iPhone or some stuff like that, but they're gonna watch and see what I tell you. Within the next year or two, they are gonna start giving out smartphones so that you can be a part of the system, because they want everybody to be a part of the system.
And it's a way for them to have access to your insights, right? So at some point, what they want to do, and they've been working on it, is they want to biomap your brain. They want to be able to predict your thoughts, not just your thoughts, but your thinking pattern, your triggers, your fears.
Yes.
Right.
And a long time ago, not to cut you off, we did a show called Neuroeconomics, where it's a science that they study your brain behavior when you're making financial decisions. And that way they know how to market things to you, how to come at you, because they know the respond and reaction, the different transmitters that are released by the brains. And so
you're 1,000% correct. You're 1,000% correct. And the way that you can test this theory or test what you're saying, I found out about 5 years ago when I was in school getting my degree. Go to Google. Like, if you use Google a lot, start typing and see one, and look below it prints out. It's called predictive typing. What they do, they get your keystrokes. They look at your shopping habits. They look at everything, and they will suggest things. I was typing one day, and I looked down, and it was the rest of the shit that I was getting ready to say. I was looking around like they got my house bugged, like. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of creepy. But then I took the mysticism out of it, and I did a little discernment and did a little research and said, okay, well, what they're doing, I know, because I got a slightly technical background. I work for Apple. I got a network degree, and I was like, okay, so what they're doing, they record your keystrokes. They
Mm-hmm.
they get all this information because right now we've been in the information age for over a decade,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
well over a decade, and information and data that's going to end up being an asset class. It's going to be like having gold or silver. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
it's very important, y'all. Data. I'm telling you, at some point, there's going to be some companies that you can invest in. All they mess with is data.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's the age that we are in right now is something else, man, because it's everything always all at once.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you look at platforms like Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram, your Snapchat, TikTok, every single phone. So, like you said, they'll give away phones for free at some point because it is a way to, it's the closest way for them right now to biomap how you think, what makes you think, what influences your thinking,
Mm-hmm.
what can kind of get you off of your square, what triggers you. And not only that, but they're also working on different frequencies. So what they
Yes.
want to do is they want to be able to emit, right? EMIT. They want to be able to emit certain frequencies in order to trigger certain behavior
Response.
from you,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. You are
So
absolutely right.
what's happening right now with the overconsumption. So there's just a level of overconsumption. I'm just talking about the United States and probably Europe for now, right? There's a level of overconsumption that they're really trying to study and utilize for their own personal data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only is there overconsumption in food, there's overconsumption in content. What
Yes.
type of content are you over consuming? How can we use the content in order to figure out a way to profit? Um, there was something else I wanted to tell you. It was food, content. Um, they are noticing a stealing or like the dollars are not circulating in the economy like it used to. They were trying to blame Black Friday and Cyber Monday was the lowest sales in the history of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. The economy is noticing that people are not spending like they used to. They seem to be a little bit more hip, more discretionary in their spending. So what they want to do is they want to figure out how to send frequency signals or some type of frequency. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, and I don't know that I understand how it was being explained. In order to force you out of your discretionary thinking,
Yep.
right? They want to be able to create their own triggers for you. So I remember I was listening to a guy who was talking to a girl who, had all these issues or whatever, and he asked her. He said, "Is the trigger the same thing like a trigger on a gun?" And she said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you own a gun?" She said, "Yes." And then he said, if somebody got shot with that gun, whose fault would it be? Technically, it would be hers, right? Because it's her gun. She has it in her possession, which means she's the one who pulled the trigger. So he was
Yep.
trying to get across to her that you own your triggers. Other people shouldn't be able to trigger you. But we already know that other people are able to trigger you. And
Oh
the
yeah.
elites want to use that to their advantage by getting you to spend when you don't want to spend, by getting you to overconsume when you don't want to overconsume. They also want to, okay, there was a time of overconsumption, let's starve them.
Yep.
I tell you guys all the time,
Mm.
I know some of you are probably laughing when I say get a notebook, get a pen, because right now we're in the information age where there is an over excess of information. All of the truth is at our fingertips right now. Understand that the pendulum is going to swing in the opposite direction,
Yep.
and you won't have access to the information. Google is a giant. And when they begin to censor information, which they absolutely are censoring information right now, notice the YouTubers who are getting demonetized, pages getting
Yep.
scrubbed. You won't
Do it
have
on Twitter
access
too.
to
Yep.
it. They
Yep.
also want to, they've already programmed the younger generation. Instead of you doing some research, just ask Google. You
Yep.
remember how you would ask your parents, like, what does this word mean? I say, go look it up. Right? You
Yep.
got to go get the dictionary out. Dictionary was this big. You could barely lift it. You got to look the word up yourself. People are used to going on their phone and just looking up stuff. And we're going to come to a time where you will not have access to that. So that is also another behavior modification method.
Yep.
So this is why I tell you guys, do your own due diligence, look these things up, write them down. Right? We've gotten really, really lazy in the digital era. Write them down. Get notebooks, keep them, label them, take the time out to do a little bit of extra work on this front end. So on the back end, you have the resources that you need in order to really out scheme the wiles of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I do wanna
Go
I
ahead.
do wanna just check out some of the people in the chat.
Do it.
PFC Wells, there are 4 tiers of data that can be captured from a person. You can only directly influence the first two. This is the elephant in the room when it comes to data sovereignty. You're absolutely correct, PFC
Yep.
Wells. Um, Drukpa Kunli said behavior modifications.
Right.
PFC Wells, that's going to be LED lights down the road. What do you mean by LED lights down the road,
Because you can,
PFC
because
Wells?
you know they can like with the, you know how some people are sensitive to like programming, like subtle flickers and stuff like that. Can it affects you? You might not. You could turn the lights on. And it's like I got LED lights in my garage. I'm in my garage. They LED lights. You can flicker them mugs, and to the normal eye, you might not notice it, but it's a
Like
flicker
a
that's like
Morse
Morse.
code kind
It's
of
like
thing?
Morse code. Yeah, he's
Oh,
right.
okay. Okay.
Yes, it's called. It's part of that programming shit, like MK Ultra and all that stuff. That shit, I'm telling you, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
Yes.
Is this plane that we are on, this realm that we are on, is way deeper than what people want to give credit to.
Yes.
we are we are in the physical, but we are spiritual beings.
Yes.
Okay, and they know exactly what they're doing. The people that's in charge. I ain't talking about no punk ass president. I ain't talking about no king. I ain't talking about. It's people that's in charge. That's in charge of them. That's running the show.
That
That's
runs the show.
pulling the strings. The puppet masters.
Yes.
Okay, and they know exactly what they're doing because they look this planet, this realm. Because it's many planets on this disc that we own, y'all. All right, and that's a whole nother show.
Mhm.
That's a
That's
whole
how
nother
rabbit
show.
hole shows.
Yeah, that's rabbit hole shows. You're right.
Mhm.
But this realm is way, way, way more deeper than what you think it
Yes.
is. We
Yes.
have barely scratched the surface. And the average person, when you talk to them about shit, like some of the stuff that I see, some of the stuff that I view, my mama told me a long time ago, follow your right mind. And
Yes.
what she meant by that was 9.5 times out of 10, that first thought is the correct thought.
Yes.
Okay. So, like, say if you was taking a test and you put down an answer, you finish early, you go back, look at all your answers, and you change one of the answers, get your test back. The answer that you changed it to the wrong answer. Your
Mhm.
first mind was right. If you feel something, if you are in tune, if you're vibrating correctly, or if you're not at a super low vibration,
Yes.
9.5 times out of 10, you're gonna have the right answer. I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm telling you.
But really, these frequencies. I don't know how many of you guys saw the movie Lucy.
Yeah.
With I can't remember her name, the pretty
Scarlett
girl,
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson, yeah.
And
At
Morgan
the
Freeman,
very
right?
end, she was sitting in the car when she was in front of the building before she was meeting with Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
And you know how they always show y'all the Matrix stream? She was
Yep.
able to manipulate. But what I wanted to bring up is notice how much Matrix stream it surrounds you. It's called broadcast waves. They're waves, they're
Yes.
frequencies. They're going inside of you. They're passing through you. They're around you. It's what we call thought forms. What you really have to do, because you are inside of all of the stuff they're bombarding you with, you do have to discipline your brain,
Mm-hmm.
not only the algorithm of your phone or your laptop, but the algorithm of your brain,
Yeah.
right? That's very, very important. So I really recommend people taking physical notes. Copious notes
Oh,
is what
yeah.
we used to call them in college,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because too many people rely on, oh, if I need this information, I'll just look it up. It's there. And it's like one day it won't be there. And that one day may be sooner than we think and anticipate.
Yeah, and also what you said, I just wanted to backtrack just slightly when you said the broadcast waves,
Yes.
all these things that are going on when you're in these what I call highly densely populated metropolitan areas.
Especially those.
So places like, I just use New York City as a place where everybody's on their cell phone. These waves are coming from any and every way, right?
But your thoughts are also a wave.
So then you
Yeah.
have people who will talk about, as a metaphysical, in a metaphysical sense, that you need to get to these places that aren't as populated densely,
Yeah.
out to maybe mountainous areas, a beach, in these places to let your
So you can think.
so you can think and let the frequency free up a little
Mhm.
bit. And
Exactly.
you see people like that who understand this type of thinking. A couple people I was familiar with who reside in New York City, in Harlem, they always make it a point to go out,
To the
to the
Poconos.
Poconos or out to California, to the mountains, to the lake, so they could think.
It was Lake
You know?
Tahoe, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lake
So,
Tahoe is beautiful. But when
mhm.
you do that, what you should do as well, if you can, is ground yourself. Take
Yes.
your shoes and your socks off. It's a reason why the bottom of our shoes are rubber. Okay.
Yeah.
We are electromagnetic. We're in an electromagnetic field all the time. All right. We got electricity. Electricity is running through your heart. You was a paramedic. You already know that. I was a paramedic. You was in the medical field. And you already know that electricity is going through us. All right. There is energy. Because we are energy. There is energy all around us all the time. Okay. When
Mhm.
you go to get away from all these densely populated areas, like when I go down to Belize, man, I
Yeah.
make it a point to get my ass on the beach. Even when I was down in Florida, take my shoes off, take my socks off, get in that water. And you ain't got to submerge yourself in the water, but get in that water, touch the ground. And when you touch the ground, talk to Mother Earth, talk to Mother Kai. Okay? Because she will download you. She will give you a download. She will let you know what's right and what's wrong. And I say she because she is correct. Feminine energy is the strongest energy. All right. Us males need to get off of that westernized train of thought of thinking that it's a man that does this, that, and the other. It's not. When you look at nature, nature tells you everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nature tells you everything. Everything came from a woman. All right. The first woman, it was a woman at first. And she sprung forth everything, all the humanity from the earth. All right. She can do it right now.
Mhm.
It's just that they got us so disconnected from the planet and so disconnected from each other to where our frequencies are off, our vibrations are off, and those are the two main things that allows us to get to the realm of spirituality to where we can ascend to be something other than the physical. Right now,
Yeah.
we locked in this meat sack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it is. We locked into this meat sack, and I get it, but I was looking at a TikTok. They want to ban TikTok here because they know what's up. Crack. We don't crack TikTok here in America,
Yeah,
but
that's what I heard.
there's a whole bunch of bullshit in it. But it's a lot of stuff on there about spirituality, and I try to follow and tune my stuff to where it's a lot of spirituality and a lot of good financial stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was listening to this guy who died 4 times, like had
I
to
saw
be
that.
resuscitated. You saw him? We do
I
not
did
die.
watch that. Yep.
We do not die. Okay? When our essence, when our soul, whatever you want to call it, when this energy leaves this vessel that we are in Energy cannot be what? Created or destroyed. It's there. It just exists, right?
Right.
So what happens? It goes back to source.
Yeah.
We are all one conscious.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's first law of thermodynamics.
Yes.
It can neither be created nor destroyed. It only can be transferred.
Right.
Transferred.
And so that is perfect. And I wanted to ask you this, since you had talked about the densely populated areas. A lot of people will say us as a people, you know, we're speaking to our melanated people out there. No disrespect to everybody else, but we don't live in a natural way. Neely Fuller would say, and this is an old stat, so I had to double check it, but he would say about 85% of Black people live in and or around 10 major metropolitan areas in the United States. We don't
Yes.
live in our natural form. 96% of the United States isn't even used when you start looking at Middle America. It's just the East Coast, a little bit of the South, and the West Coast. All this stuff in
Because
the middle
even
is
Texas is very sparse.
sparsely populated. You know where people are in Texas, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio.
San Antonio. You're right.
Yep.
And you know, I can get in my car right now, go up, and y'all from Cincinnati too. I can go up 71 to Columbus. On the way up to Columbus, what do you see on either side of the road? Nothing. You see
Farmland.
nothing but land, farmland.
Yep.
Okay. They keep on talking about it's overpopulated. That's a damn lie.
Mhm.
It's a lie. It's not overpopulated. They just wanted to be a certain amount of people on this planet so that they can do what they want to do and have what they want to have, because some people are greedy. They want to have everything. And they want to manipulate everything.
I'm just going to get back in the chat real quick, Chris. PFC Wells say YouTube and IG is testing an algorithm that pushes other topics in your feed when it sees you watching too much of a topic on the no-go list. I've been experiencing that.
Me too.
I've been complaining about that to Simon for the last 2 weeks. I was bringing you guys great news about the World Economic Forum.
Mhm.
We were talking about, economic issues, the M1 money supply, so on and so forth. My YouTube is now like,
It's crazy.
it's Diddy.
Yeah,
It's,
crazy shit. Distraction.
Yeah.
Well, the
he's a
food, I do like to
food.
watch that, so that might be my fault when they're cooking and stuff, because we got a big family always trying to cook. But I said, Simon, I don't even watch a lot of gaming videos where you're watching somebody play a video game, which is the weirdest thing in the world. It's the thing I wouldn't understand. But yes, I think I've overindulged, and I do a lot of my vetting and stuff. So I am absolutely having that trouble on my Facebook Reels.
I am as well, because like I said, I'm looking for information, but I will occasionally slide off and check out some sports stuff, right?
And then we regret it.
And then boom, I'm getting bombarded with everything that's going on. And
the minute you just kind of look at something and you're like, oh, this is interesting.
Right.
You immediately regret it, right? All of a sudden it's Coil Ray and Busta Rhymes and Benzino. So I'm not interested in any of this.
Right.
So when you get that in your YouTube feed, it's 3 buttons on a hamburger menu to the right of the what it tells you the video is. Click on it.
Oh yeah.
Then I go down to not interested or don't recommend channel.
I do it. Ask him. And then you know what happens when you do it long enough? It won't load any videos for you.
Yeah, I know.
I do it every day, and it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like it punishes you and shit.
Yeah, like, well, we ain't gonna show you no videos.
They ain't gonna show you nothing then. Like,
Drupa Coonley, get you to be angry with who they want you to be angry with. We're seeing that with the men against the women. Right? So the LGBTQ community is applauded, but just understand that there's no procreation in that community.
And tell them use that word, that specific word we use in the Bible.
Fruitful?
Enmity.
Enmity between man and the woman.
Yep,
so there's no procreation on that end either. 2, when a man and a woman get together, right? There's balance. When a man and a woman build together, the man's not building it for you, and the woman, you're not building it for him. When we build together, that is when creation takes over. You see, when 1 + 1 is actually 3, it ain't really 2.
Yeah.
right? When you think about it, we turned into 6,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's another math problem for another day, right?
Yeah.
So from 2 came 6, but you know what we're saying is that they have all of these agendas moving around simultaneously. So Drip Cook Only is actually on point, and the emotion that they want to drive is anger and hatred, that
Yeah.
enmity. There is no love in it, right? Because there is no love in the enemy. God is love, right? The most
Yeah.
holy one is love. The enemy, there is no love in him. There's no truth in him. Rashid Allah, I want to welcome you to the show. Peace and love to you and your family as well. Drip Kakuni said, get you in a fear and flight state of mind. That is correct.
Yep.
It is easier to control someone who is fearful than it is to control someone who is of sound mind and confident. They have the time to think. Fear actually blocks your the things that fire. What do we call them? The syntax. There's a there's a thing in your brain that fires off,
Okay,
right?
synapses.
Synapses. Thank you,
Okay.
sweetheart.
Mhm.
Fear actually blocks that. That's
Mhm.
why people are like paralyzed with fear,
Yeah.
because the thing that gets them to think in order to come up with a plan,
Yeah.
it's blocked.
Yeah.
PFC Wells said, remember the lady from Philly who passed like 2 months back? She was collecting news recorded from the 70s. She had 3 apartments worth of physical archives. How did she die, PFC Wells? I don't know about this.
I don't know
Can you
much
tell
about
us a
that.
little bit more about did they off her because she had proof and receipts, and the
Yeah.
coercion between all of the media isn't there anymore? Um, She said, say it louder for the people in the back. KW1 said, I believe that. PFC Wells also said, and yes, that's just what I was talking about with the LED light. Remember, your eyes don't filter what it takes in as input. You
Yeah.
learn how to filter things out over time. Even when you're watching television shows, that's why they call it television programming, as Chris said earlier. And movies and stuff, they have these frames in between each frame that
Yeah.
flashes. Obey, consume,
Yeah.
do what you want, sex, sex, sex,
Yeah.
666, right? They got all of this stuff going in the background, hatred. They were even showing you, you guys can find this on the net. When people are going to these concerts now, they have that, the whole concert is like not a hologram, but the whole concert's like a screen, so
Yeah.
that you have this
You're
immersion
surrounded by it.
experience. There you go. And then they were slowing down the frames for you as the people were singing, because singing is hypnotic, right? It puts you
Yeah.
into a trance. So that frequency is to hypnotize you and to get you to do what they want you to do. And in addition to that, they had the frames there that's flashing so fast that you can't even see some of the stuff they're saying until they slow it down, but your subconscious can read it. What does this have to do with economics? What does this have to do with finance? What does this have to do with um, building generational wealth? Everything. They
Everything,
don't
because
want you
when
to have
they don't
anything.
want you to have it. They want to program you into not getting active in this space. I mean, think about it. What does a person or an entity with power want more of? They don't want more currency. They don't want more money. They want more power.
They want more control.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
see what happens when that control becomes unchecked. You guys
Yeah.
check out the Diddy saga and look at it for more than the sensationalism of what he's doing. Look at the behavior, right? The Clive Davis, the Diddy, the Andre Harrell, the Aaron Hall. It's the behavior, because they really show you at a lower level what the elites actually want to do to us
Yeah.
if they could.
And and I mean, I'm a big supporter of Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Yes.
I know a lot of people have problems with him,
Check him out if you guys are
but
unfamiliar with his work.
he will break down different types of part of your ego and things like that. And some of the things she's talking about, he has a name for. It's called the dark triad. And you see these people, because people like to throw around the word, what do you call it? Narcissist. They like to throw around
Real loosely.
sociopath, psychopath.
Psychopath.
They throw these around kind of loosely. But then you got to really start doing the knowledge and seeing who actually or sociopaths,
Psychopaths.
and narcissists. And it is a dark triad, and that's something to look into when you're dealing with people. And not even on a high level like somebody like him, but just people in your life. You could be like, oh, that person has these traits, and you know not to deal with them, and you know what problems that may come with those type of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
whether it's a relationship, but it could also be a business partnership, right? You got money invested with somebody and you're starting to pick up on these things, it can really have adverse effects on the financial outcomes, the reputation outcomes, right? Which will eventually affect you financially. Rashida Law said, folks already talking about hearing weird sounds in New York that they can't explain. So Rashida Law, there's multiple things with that. Not only are they trying to emit frequencies, but on a biblical level, we are at end times. I would absolutely recommend you guys, if you are hearing like trumpet sounds in the sky, you definitely want to read the book of Revelations and understand the seals and the bowls. Um, God, the most holy one, his throne is absolutely in heaven. We can hear the stuff going on up there because they
Angie said
are.
hi.
Hi, Angie. I love you, Angie.
Love y'all. I didn't want to interrupt y'all. Percy don't care. But hey, y'all.
Hi,
Love
sweetheart.
y'all.
PFC Wells said the one day is now. There is at least 15% of
good.
data from the early 2000s that cannot be accessed now because the servers have been rewritten. That's interesting. Turned
Yep.
off and deleted. The metaverse will follow the same. Tell me a little bit more about that, PFC. What do you mean by the metaverse will follow the same? Mother Earth and Father Time, this is true.
Yeah.
The divine feminine principle, that is our intuition.
Yeah.
Dripka Coonley says, say it again. People in the back who can't hear you. That's so funny. Dripka Coonley, ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'll call her back.
I'm just check on
Okay,
the
sweetheart.
young one to see what he wants.
Yeah, the young one is in and out, y'all. So that's why I keep my attention span today. Dripka Coonley receives this message with gratitude. Thank you so much. We receive all of y'all with gratitude. We are grateful to be able to have a round table where we can have adult conversations that are harmonious and productive, right? Not all of that arguing and stuff. PFC Wells, a possible workaround is to use the actual website, not the app, and don't log in. Just search for the topic. The algo works different when you don't log in. Damien, we want to welcome you to our show. Thank you so much for joining. You will own nothing and be happy. You guys look up Klaus Schwab.
From the World Economic Forum.
He's the president of the World Economic Forum, and this is the diabolical mental insanity that they want to push on us. We want you to work for everything, but you will have nothing, and we will have the everything that you work for. And this is why we often talk about finding ways to preserve your purchasing power, because in preserving your purchasing power, you are giving strength to the economic energy output when you work for your money. E-Deb and L, more control it is. Wall Street Pickers, thank you so much for joining us. I've been trying to explain Bitcoin to my workmates. Firstly, they laugh at me. They said I was stupid, and now in the last few weeks, I got most of them coming back to me asking about Bitcoin. You're right back, right?
And that's how they
Chief,
do.
Go ahead, Chief.
I'm sorry. That's how they do
frustration.
Wall Street Pickers. They're like, I'll give you an example. A real world example is me. All right. I just retired a year ago, not this past October, but the October before that. All right. I could have stayed 3 more years, but I didn't want to. I'm a firefighter by trade. All right. I'm a current fire inspector. I just wanted to take some of the risk factor out of my life. Right. So 2 years before I retired, I got into digital assets from Aaron and Gordon. Okay. They got me hip to it. It was kept popping up. The universe steered me towards it. I got into it. Once I found out about it and did enough research to find out that it's the next thing, like the iteration of the internet, I was trying to get people, to jump in and get on board, because somebody back in 2010 asked me to invest $100 into Bitcoin. Now just think, all of y'all that's on the computer right now, do a 3-letter agency Google search of the price of Bitcoin in 2010. If I would have put $100 in Bitcoin in 2010, I probably would not be talking right now because I'd be somewhere warm, tropical. All right. I didn't know. I was just like those people that your workmates. I was just like them. You know, I told them straight away. I was like, man, Bitcoin. I was like, what the F is Bitcoin? Because I cuss a lot, so I'm trying not to do it right now. I was like, what the F is Bitcoin? I don't know about no damn Bitcoin, this, that, and the other. Well, years later, the shit popped up. Bam. I'm like, damn, I kicked myself. But then I'm like, well, I thought about it rationally. I'm like, I just was not ready for it because everything happens in its own time pertaining to you as an individual.
Yes.
I was nowhere ready for it because back then I would have had to write shit down on paper. I would have had to, and I wasn't structured enough. Not that I'm all, jacked up, but I wasn't structured enough to have some. I would have lost it or whatever. I had no safe, all of that. But now that I know it, people are asking about it. And I try to tell people about it. Most of the people are going to get in when the shit's high as hell. Yes. And I'm a prime example of that. When I first got in, it was during the bull run, the last bull cycle, bull market, right? And y'all know this. Y'all can attest to this, Aaron and Gordon. Mm-hmm. I kept telling y'all, oh man, I'm late. I'm like that one character. I was like, I'm late for a very important date. I thought I was late. I thought I was late. I was trying to get as much as I could. In all actuality, where we were in the iteration of Web3, which is these digital assets, it was like the baby had just came out of the womb. Yes. Right now, the baby is a toddler crawling around. The baby is getting ready to get up and start walking. Mm-hmm. This baby may start running before it walks. Because, some babies, they'll get up and they'll run.
Take off.
I've seen it. Mm-hmm. Some of them, they'll get up and run. If you use that analogy and think like, okay, the train is moving right now. It ain't at the station. The train left the station. All right. But it's at a speed to where you may be able to jump on that train if you're fast enough. All right. If you can do some research, do your own research on some of these digital assets that's going to have some real world value and a store of value, and get as much as you can. And then keep learning. I stopped watching so much TV, much network TV, so much, Netflix and all that other stuff. And I started getting into YouTube. I started getting into books. I started getting more into books. I started getting into reading up on different websites about financial stuff, because I never was a financial guy ever. Y'all know this, Gordon. You know this. You know me. We've been knowing each other for over 20-something years, man. I never was. But since 2021, I've been learning about finance. And the universe allowed it to be interesting to me. And it's something now that I'd rather, research something financially than research some bullshit. Because I know it's not going to have any value for me. Because right now I'm a 54-year-old man trying to build a legacy. Later, I'm not real late in my life, because I think I got many more years to walk around on this plane in this meat sack that I'm in. I feel like that I am going to be the first one in my family to set a mantle to say, here, this is what you need to do. You get your will, get trust. I'm gonna get some insurance so that whole life cash value, index universal life insurance, to where when I go, they'll have something, but it'll be a part of a trust. Because if you just have a will, the state can still take your stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you have a living trust and you have it written properly, you will be protected. Because what do these corporations and entities want? They want all your shit. Just like Klaus Schwab said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. And that's exactly what they mean. They don't care nothing about you. These your banks, your job, they say they talk a good game. They talk in their book. Yeah, we care about you. This is a family thing. Just like when you was a firefighter with me, Gordon, it was a family thing. You know, we brothers. It's a brotherhood. But what would happen when you by yourself and you're the only black man in the firehouse? And you would, and you know, you ain't as boisterous as me because I'm shit. You say something wrong to me, I'll fight every single one of y'all right then and there, right now. It goes beyond the job because you're trying to step on my manhood. And if you do that, then you know, hey, you got to have some type of values. I'm gonna down on my feet. I ain't down on my knees. So learn about this stuff, get into it, and don't let anybody push you off your mark. Stay on your mark, and I'm telling you, we are in the mid 90s right now pertaining to how the internet age was. When we came into the internet in the early 90s, they are telling you, when you look at that logarithmic curve, that adoption curve, we are just now starting to, that curve is just now starting to go up. Okay, that curve, when it went up, it shot up. It crashed back down, and then it came back up, but it shot up. We are right at the precipice of where it's getting ready to go parabolic. And you want to be a part of that. All right. One thing that PFC, I think, was it PFC Wells? Who was it? Let me go back to it. They were talking about AI trading. I'm not a trader. I'm a hodler. What I do, I get an asset that I believe in, that I do a little bit of research on, and I see that it's going to be viable for what's to come. And then I'll grab it and I'll get more of it. But I got a diversification process. When I first got into this space, I was buying the little bullshit meme coins and Shiba Inu and all of that. But then I quickly started to learn that, hey, you know, you look at market caps, you look at tokenomics, you look at all those stuff, all those things. You got to get something that's going to be valuable. What is it going to do? Is it going to bring things together, meaning interoperability? Will they be able to interoperate with each other? Is it going to secure something? There's tokens out there that secure blockchains, that secure digital ledger platform, DLT technology, digital ledger platforms. There are things that provide liquidity. If you look at those three basic things, 9 3/4 out of 10, you will be right to get those. And if you do, right now I'm at the place to where, okay, we're getting ready to go into this bull market in 2024 when Bitcoin starts to have, or when it halves, all right? And Bitcoin is going to pull a lot of assets up with it. They all ain't going to go at the same time. They're going to go at their own pace. But when they start to go up, you got to have a strategy in how you're going to take profits in that. And that's one thing that, you know, I'm going to talk to you and Aaron about, and other people. But right now I'm leaning more towards the 20-20-20 value, or 20-20-20 profit taking method, to where when it goes up a certain percent, 20% of those assets, sell them. When it goes up another percentage amount, 20% sell them. When it goes up another percentage amount, 20% sell them. If you have enough of those assets and they go up a certain percentage higher than its all-time high, you'll be able to have enough profit, keep enough gunpowder on the side to where you can go back, buy back into those assets that are working, that are doing something. If you do that, you should be successful. It ain't financial advice. It's just common damn sense.
I
So,
also
go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I also want to, because you know I'm big on the psychological and the way that they want to program you to think in certain terms, right? So we are in a digital era, and you're noticing the push for them to place value on digital things. But you got to remember that a digital item, in a sense, right? I'm not talking about Bitcoin. A digital item, in a certain sense, does not exist in reality.
At all. Yeah. It's not
right?
tangible.
So what they want to do is kind of like what the missionaries used to do.
Mhm.
Remember, the missionaries would come with the Bible and leave with the land,
Yeah.
leave with
Yeah.
the people, leave
Okay.
with the resources of the land,
Mhm.
right? The devil has the same old tricks. His tricks don't change. It's just that the time in which he implements that trick looks a little different,
Yes.
right? The metaverse, the push for the metaverse. We want y'all to buy real estate in the metaverse and stuff because they want your real estate.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
want your
Exactly.
real property.
Okay.
They want to take your silver and gold because you got to remember that money, not currency, not fiat, money was originally precious metal, silver or gold.
And gold.
Okay.
Yep. Silver and gold. That's
Then
right.
they turned it into paper that was backed by gold.
Yep.
Now it's just paper.
Yep.
And now they even want to take that tangible item away from you
Yep.
for a digital item. It's a number they can make up. There is no accounting for it. You see, the Fed is already doing that with the Treasury, right? They got this
Yep.
magical checkbook where the money just comes poof, puff the magic dragon from nowhere.
Yep.
And it's the psychological aspect of what they're doing. We want you to do these things in these virtual worlds. We have the Oculus for children. We want to get used to having you in this non-existing reality so that we can profit, take, seize, confiscate, commandeer your
Yep.
tangible reality and existence.
Mm.
Yep.
Your economic
Exactly.
energy is a real thing that
It
they want you
is.
to trade for nothing.
Nothing at all. They don't want you to have shit.
And we talked
So,
about that trading your energy,
yep.
you know, for fiat currency, and that's why we say, you know, you need to store your energy in something, and you know, we use Bitcoin as the because it was uh, the main one. We use Bitcoin to say, hey, this is where you can store the energy and time that you spent to earn this fiat currency, that you can unlock that energy at a later date and time,
Yes.
right? And you
Yep.
know, that might sound technical, but basically, if you took your salary and you put it into $9,000 Bitcoin, you unlock it now, it's 44,000,
Right.
Yep.
right? And that you got something for that. You know, you got something for your energy and time. But go ahead. I did have one more thing I was going to say
Go ahead,
about what
Steve.
you said, but I
Do it.
want to hear what the chief had to say.
Go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead. Do it, bro.
Okay, so one problem, and I'm always this is my pet peeve, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. I have a big pet peeve because, like you said, we did work. We both were in the military. We both were firefighters, and I have a big support and a place in my heart for blue collar workers, right? People who get out here and do it. You know, whether it's electrician, plumber, construction, all these things that build the world that we actually live in,
Structural jobs.
structural jobs that undergird society. And you know, a lot of people are, you know, we like to get on the internet, make money, and do this stuff. But I'm saying if too many people get going that way and we don't have enough people doing the structural jobs to upkeep society,
But that's the same
it's gonna be a problem.
psychological psyop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're telling young people instead of you working 10, 12 hours a day for Duke Energy, upkeeping the grid so that millions of people can have electricity and
Yep.
access to
Mm-hmm.
life saving resources, right? You want to be a YouTuber and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You get sponsors, you can already see the exchange. I told you guys last night that children don't grow up and say they want to be a pilot anymore. So
Yeah.
travel now becomes hindered because they're timing out. There's nobody to fly the plane.
Yeah.
As older pilots retire, there are no new pilots coming in to
Right.
close that number. I'm gonna talk about the firefighters. Not too long ago, we saw that up to 300 firefighters in Cincinnati are going to be retiring in the next 36 months. It was like 3 years, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They don't have
Yeah.
enough people even coming in as firefighters in order to close the gap to the current
Right.
retirees, much less retirees out, because the young generation is being programmed away from tangible structural
Yes, they
things.
are.
Yeah.
And it's jacked up. Hey, look, real quick. Randy just called me. Can you send him a link
Yes.
to where he can Send it to him. I told him you'll send it through Messenger.
Yes.
Okay. That, and I got to go use the bathroom. Y'all go ahead and talk. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
But
when you get older, you get it. You know.
Hey, yeah,
Glad
you
to be
know
like,
the breath.
bro.
Hey, I guess shit. Y'all already know what it is. Don't get brand new on me now. I'll be right back.
Like it's
So, you know, the psyop, and we always have to watch to see what the psychological aspect of this is, right? So that's why I said we have to work on the algorithm of our own minds.
we do, and you know, and I'll go back to some other things, and you know, I might be old school in my thinking, but even when you have communities, when you go back in the day and you're building small communities, it wasn't about what you wanted to be. You were assigned a job.
Yes.
You were assigned a job. If we had a small community here, and it's us and our 4 children, you're assigned a job, and you're big and strong. You go split wood. You go split firewood. Yeah, but I wanted to do no. You're strong. This is what you do. You actually can cook. Well, you got to cook the food. Well, I don't. You were assigned jobs, and you will see that.
You got to kill the animal. You got to go do the agriculture.
You got to go do the hunting. Okay, so I'm a hunter. You're somebody who's smart, intelligent. You are the teacher, right? Of the
nation
children.
builder.
So people were assigned jobs where you would have people who would say, I see this in this child, and this is where this child would be useful in our community. But now it's out there where you could be whatever you want to be. And, you know, I don't want to get too far off because Jordan Peterson has great studies on this where it's like they want to have equality, but if left to their own devices, he shows how men and women will still go to the places that they want to go. Men are, as he states it, are more interested in things, if you will. Women are more interested in people. So you'll see more women maybe being, and I'm using this as an example, teachers maybe and or nurses, stuff like that.
Teachers, nurses, social workers.
And you'll see men being more like
the arts and humanities.
You'll see men being more like engineers, or
finance,
blue collar work, whether
mathy,
it's construction,
sciencey, or structural,
firefighters, things like that, military. They will just sort themselves out, and they're going to go their ways because that is the way that they are wired. So sometimes you have to, in building, delegate what it is that you're going to do, what you're good at, and because you see a lot of people, man, they go into things. I mean, I know people. We know 2 people personally who went in to be lawyers, and once they found out what the job entailed, they're like, I don't like this. And they said, well, you spent 8 years and you're $200,000 in debt.
Over.
Because you wanted to be a lawyer, where somebody could have said, you know what, your talent and skill set will be best served here. It would have saved you a lot of time, a lot of money, and you probably would have been happier in your occupation. But so I just want to say that's a pet peeve of mine. But go ahead, we got the homie on here. Let's go ahead and introduce the homie.
I want everybody to welcome Randy. Randy's also a firefighter. This roundtable right here is a very productive roundtable for economics, finance, wealth building, silver stacking, life building.
Hell yeah.
But I also want to welcome BK Crypto. Hi, BK Crypto. Thank you for joining us again. The Colonel is on. Hi,
What's
Crazy
up, Colonel?
Colonel.
I know. I want him to change his handle to the Fullberg Colonel. And yes, we are happily preparing and receiving the benefits of a bull run.
Yeah, we are. Somebody.
Oh yeah.
So let's wrap. What's up, Randy? What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate y'all having me on. Nothing, just sitting here at the firehouse, trying to get through this rain. It's raining, so we ain't doing nothing. We just sitting here chilling.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Most definitely.
PFC Wealth. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
I said, how y'all been?
We're good. We're good. We are live, so we're talking about different aspects of wealth building, generational wealth. We're talking about current events in the economy, things to watch out for, and stuff like that. So please feel free to hop in with your thoughts, insights, ideas, just like we normally do.
Yeah, a little bit of spirituality, all that stuff.
Okay.
PFC Wells had mentioned a woman earlier. Her name is Marion Stokes. And of course, he had to spell it that way for a reason. But apparently
Okay.
she was collecting newspaper and news reports. She had archives in over 3 apartments. There's a documentary on her. So I just made a note to myself that way I can look up the information for that because she recently passed away. So, that's always
Hmm.
something to look into, right?
Yeah.
Like, why did you pass away? And did you know something that they didn't want you to get out there? So the 3 wise firemen.
Yeah. So, the question I have here, I'm glad Randy came in because, well, I'm always a big proponent of looking out the United States, looking outside the United States and see what's going on. And I know that you are big into Belize. So, what's new going on with Belize, the land down there, the
Oh
living
well,
people?
it's up and coming, man. I just
Is
came
it-
back from there about 3-4 weeks ago, and
Okay.
it changed from the last time I was down there. And so they got construction everywhere. But I did network and I met a lot of the owners of like
Hmm.
different restaurants and bars and stuff. They're
Yeah.
telling me the inside of what realtors to use, also what areas to look into. Um, it's sort of like gentrification here, down there. They're
Mm.
taking those old neighborhoods and they're flipping them around, and before you know it, man, it's gonna be something that you can't even afford.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
hopefully this new bull run, this next bull run, I'll be able to get me something, purchase something. But my networking helped out a lot this time. So
Okay.
it's up and coming down there.
What
Yeah.
what do you mind what kind of visas would be available to people like us? Is it like an investment visa? Is it like a retirement pensionado visa? What would it be
Well, yeah,
possible
they
for
got they
people like
got
us?
they got they got all that. Plus they got some. Plus they got the one lady I was talking to, she just moved down there from Canada,
Hmm.
and however way she did it, she had to not leave the country for 12 months and do some other paperwork, of course. But after
Right.
that, she was considered a resident of Belize.
Right.
But
And do they and the resident? I know some people get this. So you could be a resident without having a Belizean passport, right?
correct, correct,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And
So
she
so
she
she.
also bought a condo and stuff down there and some other assets. But she was just telling me the way things worked, and it's a lot more research that I have to do. Considering I was just considering just be like a winter home destination, but
Oh.
the way she explaining it, I might be down here full time.
Oh, you're gonna be full. Okay. And I love Belize, man. It's a great place, man. I would like to get back down there if let me
Hmm.
go. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. I'm always looking for different places because we've been here for what I don't know 7 years or something, and
Right.
it might not be forever. You might be looking for that next spot to dip into. So I know Chief, you
Hmm.
looking at Belize too, ain't you?
Oh yeah, that's my homeboy, man. I'm with Randy wherever he go, man. And
Mhm.
we're gonna set up shop down there. We're gonna do some things down there. We're gonna be more than just, you know, real estate owners. When I go down there, I gotta set up some type of cooking shit down there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be down there whenever I set something up down there. I'm gonna set it up to where I'm gonna be down there in the winter time, so I won't have to deal with the cold here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But throughout the year, I'm still gonna be going down there for maybe a couple weeks at a time in order to network and get more stuff and to build. Because to me, I ain't gonna lie, man. When I was talking about putting my feet in the sand and getting in the water, and I mentioned Belize, every time I hear like some of these tropical sounding songs and all that, my mind go right to Belize, dog. And
And
it's
so
one of them things to where you see people that look like you and everybody down there. And Randy, you can tell them the same thing because it's the truth. Every time you go down there, at least one person will tell you, you need to be down here. Your people
Oh yeah.
down.
Oh
I'm your brother.
definitely.
I'm your sister. I'm your auntie. They will tell you straight up, like, what are you doing? Get out of the West. Bring your butt down here. This, that, and the other. And it's the truth, man. Angie, look, y'all know Angie. Y'all know how
yeah.
Angie is, man. Angie, she ain't, she's breaking out of her shell. She was in, Belize, and the last time we was down there with Randy and the Caldwells and a couple other people.
Yeah.
She had such a good time, man, and she felt so good to the point to where she now is like, whatever you get down there, I'm with it. So me and Randy, we gon', Randy might do something, because he go down there a lot more than me.
Yeah.
But if he do something down there, I'm gonna be a part of that shit. And when he does something down there, I'm gonna be a part of it. I'm gonna have my own. He gonna have his own. And then I told him I want to have something with him.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So Randy
Go
is
ahead.
perfect to ask you because we talked about this earlier. When you go to Belize, I'm talking about from like a metaphysical standpoint. How does your energy feel? Does it change? I mean, how do you feel?
Oh yeah. I was all over that place.
Okay.
This time I did something different. I didn't even book a room when I went down there. I just winged it. And before you know it, I'm all the way down near Guatemala.
You're in Guatemala?
I was near it. I was close to it. But that's the whole fun part about it, is the adventure, meeting the people. And I met so many people just by winging it. It was just going on a hunch. Like, I'm pretty sure they got me, and sure enough, they did. I didn't have a room, and I got to one spot real late, and the lady was like, "Well, I got some cabanas you can stay in," and she charged me $60. Stayed there for almost 2 days. So
like you said, that feel good to you, but she probably overcharged you. But it's all good.
Well, that was for 2 days. $60 for 2 days.
Oh, wow, 2 days.
You ain't staying nowhere for $60 for 2 days, dog.
Yeah,
took care of me.
They showed me the restaurants. They walked me around, showed me, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I told them usually I stay up in northern Belize. This time I was in southern Belize, Placentia, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Man,
that's what I'm saying. It was real comfortable. I didn't feel, scared or nothing. It was just, I wanted to see how they live, and that's why I was doing what I did.
And how does with your family? How do your family feel about it? Are they on board?
Oh, they on board. They on board. They ready for me to do it.
Oh,
okay. Hey, Gordon, when you go down there, man, it is so welcoming and so inviting, so pleasant. It's not fast paced. It's laid back. When you go down there, when I went down there the last time, I was salty. The day that we had to come back, I was mad. Like, God damn, we gotta go back. Like, I don't want to go back to this shit. Yeah, I want to be. I love my house. I love my property here. But shit, I wanna have some stuff down there to where in the spring and summer, I can be here enjoying myself. And then when I go down there and I'm down there for a couple months, shit, that's my other home. And I'm gonna get it to where I'm a resident, a citizen, whatever. I'm gonna make that shit. I'm gonna make that shit work. I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it do what it's gonna do, baby. It's gonna happen. Huh?
So I know how you guys get down. Y'all gonna make it work. I already know. I can see the determination. Now, one thing I would like to say, it's just a little piece of advice, but you roll how you do it is when you guys are going to Belize, and I believe it's a smaller community, right? It's not Belmont Pond or Belize City, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, what we have learned in these years of being abroad is that definitely we take our time to get lined up with some of the people of the community, like some business people, some entrepreneurs. Like I said, in our community, we live next door to the mayor. So we know the mayor, the police commissioner, get tapped into these people so that, when you're down there, you have reliable people who are of influence in the community who can speak on your behalf. If you run into any trouble, any problems,
Right.
we have what? We got 2 lawyers. I think that you need 3, but we got 2 as of now. You need a criminal lawyer and you need an immigration lawyer. And you might need a real estate lawyer if moving and buying. Yeah, but just tap into some of these people who are important in the community. That way you become somebody who's important in the community.
Right.
And it's just I think a strategy that works well if you're gonna be in a place like that. I'm sorry, let her get the screen. She came back. So Aaron, what did you think? I don't know. You got the game on it.
Oh, I'm roasting a beer can chicken. What are we talking about?
Oh, we talking about Belize. We talking about Belize.
Belize.
Yeah, we talking about Belize.
You know, I gotta cook for all these men in this house. So
Right.
we're making a deliciously seasoned beer can chicken with home baked macaroni and cheese. You know, I'm still mommy. Yeah, it's coming.
And,
But
yeah.
what were we talking about?
Well, no,
like
because
moving
Randy,
abroad?
yeah, Randy's gonna go down. He's gonna get some land. Him and the chief gonna get some land in Belize. And then we were just asking, you know, how he felt when he went abroad.
It's different. It's a different feeling.
And he said his people said you need to be down here with us.
Look, when I go down there, I don't know. I think the universe is just sending them towards us. They say the same thing to Angie that they say to me. My sister, you need to be down here. And then they take their hand and they do like this. They say, look at all these people. These are your brothers and your sisters. These are your aunties. These are your uncles. These are the people that you need to be around. And they are absolutely right. They ain't playing around, man. Look, to everybody that's listening out there, if you can get out of the U.S. and go somewhere like Belize or even down there in certain parts of Mexico, Colombia, in certain parts. Get out of the States. Get out of the States. Get out of this westernized mind construct that they got you locked into. Because every single major country, I said, it slipped out and said company, which in a lot of cases, it's a company.
You know what you're saying.
The United States, the United States is a corporation. All right. And so is that place down there where they built in the 40s or 50s called Israel. It's an LLC. It's a company. But that's another
That's a whole nother show. But you know, it's funny too, because really what we're talking about when we dial it down is we're talking about the egregor, the thought forms, and the broadcasting waves, right?
Yeah.
So story time. I grew up in New York, right? I grew up on Long Island, Nassau County.
I thought you was from Queens.
I was born in Queens, but I grew up on Long Island, right? I don't front, I don't fake the funk, right? I was born in Queens. I was born in Left City, but we went from Left City to Hollis. When my mother and father noticed that Hollis was getting bad, this is in the 80s, a little bit before the crack era took over, they were able to kind of upgrade and move to Nassau County, Long Island. Fast forward 18 years later, I left New York and I went to San Antonio, Texas, because I was in the Air Force. It was very different, just the atmosphere outside of New York. People said good morning to you. People smiled at you when you went shopping. I'm going to tell you how messed up, right? Just at a young age, my mind was. So I meet this guy. He asked me out on a date. And so, yeah, we'll go out on a date. So the date night comes. We're walking out the dorms. Simon, opened the door for me. That's how bad the egregor was in New York, that I wasn't used to a man opening the door. When we got to his car, he opened the passenger door. And I'm going to tell you how messed up my mind was. Right? So I asked him, I said, you want me to drive? And he just looked at me like, who you been dating? No. He said, I'm a gentleman. I open doors. He said, just so we don't have any problem for the rest of the night, I'm going to pull your seat out. I'm not trying to pull it out from under you, but I'm going to pull your seat out. I'm going to push it in. He started to clown me a little bit. I'm going to help you with your seatbelt. I'm going to treat you like the woman I think that you are. And I told that little bit of story because it's just coming out of the airspace of New York to Texas. He's from Cincinnati, right? Parents brought him up properly. It does something to your thinking, and you really want to go to places where you can see a new way of thinking, right? Where you can make different decisions, right? I knew when I met him, if that didn't work, I would never deal with another New Yorker again, right? Because I found something great. I don't think I could go back to the New Yorker, but I'm just saying, when we started to travel, we used to go to Gatlinburg a lot. So that's the Poconos. The Poconos is for New Yorkers, but in Cincinnati, Gatlinburg is our Poconos.
Yeah.
And I remember when Simon would take us, and he was really doing that for me. He was a firefighter, he was stressed out and stuff, but it was like, Aaron, I know you kind of need to clean your antenna from time to time. So I'm gonna take you to a nice, solitary area. I know you're into the Bible and stuff. I'm taking you to the mountain. You go be with the Most High, right?
Yep.
And
Mhm.
it is a different feeling. There's actual grass, ground, lilies, flowers. That concrete jungle, it disperses the energy of what we call ley lines. And I'm telling you guys this because your financial strategy, your generational wealth building strategy, your life portfolio strategy, whatever strategy you are trying to devise, if you're trying to come up with a business, if you want to do better homeschooling for your children, if you just want to think, if you want to be closer to the Most High, which I urge everybody to do when they get a chance, right? Don't wait too late. But you have to come out of the US airspace. Or if you can't come out of the US airspace, find more solitary, not densely populated spaces to go to and try to spend at least a week or two. Nowadays, we work so hard, it's almost like you get a couple of days off. I'm going on a 3-day cruise, and you did so much stuff in the 3 days, you need 2 weeks to just recuperate
Yep.
from your
Mhm.
actual vacation. You didn't really get any downtime because you were cramming it in before you had to get back to work or to whatever your obligations are. So when Grizz and Randy talk about going to Belize and just understanding coming out of that Cincinnati airspace as firefighters, I'm not going to get into it, but they see a lot.
Yeah.
And as a firefighter's wife, my husband saw a lot and I had to help him deal with a lot. And we take for granted because it's their job and they kind of go on autopilot and do their job. It's still things that sit on them, sit with them, right? Women, love your husbands, respect them. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. Like, those are real principles. And that is how we build. That's why when they talk about marriage being an institution, it's an institution like a business.
You definitely build with it, right?
You got to build, you got to leverage talents, you got to leverage strengths and weaknesses, right? And you do the same thing. If you guys are trying to build generational wealth, which is really kind of like it's generating income in a different way, right? Because you're either saving it or preserving the power of it. You need to be in the right sound mind in order to establish those strategies, in order to understand the people in your organization, whether they're friends, family, relationships that you're dealing with. Are they helping to build this institution or are they working to destroy it? Like, these are real things.
And that's definitely I agree with what you're saying there, 100%. And I got a question for the chief and Randy. It just wanted to know just for my own information, so I can learn. I know that you guys are not trying, you are going to get something down there in Belize. As far as like your children, is this something where you're bringing them to have the new experience, or are
Oh,
they
definitely. I know I'm
definitely
definitely
okay?
going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you ain't really, in my mindset, if you don't let your children experience that shit, are you really a family?
Right.
How can I say that I'm a father and I try to do the best for my seeds and I got
Mhm.
all girls? Y'all got all boys, but I got
Yeah.
all girls. I can't, I moved my girls up out of the city. We was in College Hill. Y'all remember I was in College Hill. We was in
I
the
remember
city,
that.
in the city. You know what I'm saying? And it was about 5 minutes away from where I grew up from the age 7. But I had to get them out of that environment because I didn't want them to be adversely influenced by some of the shit that happens inside of the city. So I moved all the way out to Warren County
Yeah, you
to where
did.
it was sparsely populated. There go my man right there. I see you,
Y'all
Tino.
here.
I see you,
Y'all
Tino.
here
He
all
got some
day.
pearls. He got them pearls in his hands. He know what's up. But I had to get them. I had to get them away from. I had to get them away from all of that BS, man, because it's different raising girls than it is raising boys. And with that being said, without me if I was to not, like, when we get some stuff down there, I'm taking all my girls down there, even the one that's in her kids that's in DC or Virginia, DC area. We are going down there. I'm gonna show them something else to say, hey, this is part of the legacy that I am building for y'all. This is going to be y'all's when I leave this vessel that I'm in right now. This is going to be yours, and it's going to be set up in the structure of the trust to where when I'm gone, you do what you want to with it, but it's going to be something to where you can find your solace, to where you can the ins and outs and the stressors of being in the city like Cincinnati. Cincinnati ain't no gigantic city, but it's still considered a big city, and there's still a lot of stuff going on. Even in the suburbs, the surrounding areas of the city of Cincinnati, it's still a lot of shit going on.
I think so.
Sometimes you need to get away from that. Take your ass down there and on a 2.5 hour flight or however long it takes, and put your feet in the sand and get away from it. Slow down a little bit to allow your computer, your brain, to process, because your brain is a computer. All right, in the structure of your body, just like a computer itself, the processor is the brain. All right, to allow yourself to decompress, to get rid of all of the junk, your junk emails, get rid of all of that junk.
Your junk email, yep.
For real. So that you can incorporate, it's just an analogy, so that you can incorporate the good stuff back into your person so that you can become the person that you were ultimately meant to be. Because when you're looking at it from a spiritual aspect, if you don't do that, if you don't get back to yourself, because you always got to look within. You instead of looking outward, look in, so that you can progress as a human, as a person, as a 9 ether being, as a melanated person, so that you can become a better being in this realm that we in right now. And once you do that, everything around you will change and will be better, because it's like we are magnets. All right. It's a reason why we've been friends for over 20 years. It's a reason why I want to do what I want to do with Randy. There is a reason. It's not something that is just happenstance. We are all meant to do what we are all meant to do.
Right.
And it's a reason why we are talking right now, because we are all thinking similarly. We are thinking in a way to where we know that something, the stressors and the information that's coming into us, a lot of it ain't correct. And we are in the process of correcting it so that we can have shields put up to where a lot of the stuff that's not good for us can be shielded from us, and we can operate in a plane to where we can become better beings on this realm that we own.
Okay, so with that being said, both of you being OGs, I would say my question I have is, when we came to Mexico, or the fact that we are in Mexico right now, we have 4 children, 4 sons, but 3 of them are what you would say, underage, and our 4th son is grown. So what I would ask you is, because you have grown children, it's hard to force them. I can make our young children, you got to go where we go. But once you got that grown child, if they don't want to go, if they're not seeing the vision that you have, how do you deal with that? Or how do you mitigate that?
You want to go first, Randy?
Well, yeah. So my son, he's 21. And so, I tried to get him into crypto. I tried to this, and this. He don't want to do it. That's fine. He has a path that he wants to journey on, which is truthfully every man's issue. We had our own path. Nobody can actually hold our hand day in, day out, show us what to do. So I let him take his journey. Where he needs help or assistance at, I'm always there. I ain't even a phone call away. All you got to do is say "Dad" in the air, and I'll come run. Okay. But it's basically, you got to let him grow up to experience. Let him bump his head. Let him figure out what's his pros and cons in life. Get to know himself. Because if we keep holding on to our kids' hands, they'll never grow up. They'll just be a disservice to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. With me having all girls, I'm going to show them something that's different than what they are experiencing here in this westernized society. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't want to do it, that's still on them. They will still have an avenue to where they can experience something that is not the rigmarole of what they are on right now. Okay. I ain't never forced them to do shit. I ain't never forced them to be anything than what they actually are. Because I was raised in the Church of God in Christ, but my father was a minister, but he told me flat out when I was of the age to understand and have discernment. He's like, man, when you was younger, I made you go to church. But now that you of age, I can't make you go to church. I'm going to ask you if you want to go to church. And if you don't, that's on you. And that is something that you have to deal with for yourself. But we have raised you and taught you in the ways that we know, but you are still your own person. And you have to navigate your life the way you have to navigate your life. That's one thing that I'll never forget. And that's one thing that I'll never, ever, ever, ever be mad at him about, because he was not an overbearing person when it came to that. He was 100. He was straight up. He was like, man, you got to be who you are going to be. And I am really thankful that he was that type of man. Don't force your kids to do anything that they don't want to do. If they want to do it, they'll end up doing it. They might not do it when you want them to do it, but they'll do whatever they want to do when it's time for them to do it. Just like I keep telling y'all, everything happens for a reason. Everything has its own season. All right. And it's just one of those things. I ain't gonna force nobody to do shit. I know what's good for me. It might not be good for you.
So when in that vein, I'm just asking as fathers, you guys are seasoned fathers. When it's time, say you got to shut down the household and be in Belize, and like you said, maybe the older children, they're not with it. They're gonna stay behind and do what they do, which is part of having children and being a father. How do you feel? You take solace in the fact that you raised them the best that you could, and they'll make the right decisions, and that you can go about your life, or how does that come across?
Yeah, I mean, shit, I feel good about it. I mean, I look, I ain't gonna lie, man. All of my girls are decent women. They are decent human beings. They know right from wrong, and they don't be on no fuck shit. All right, excuse my language, but that's how it is. They ain't on no bullshit. Okay. I don't force them to do anything. I don't tell them they have to do something a certain way. They're gonna learn by trial and error, and what's good for them may not be good for me. But if it's good for them and they are still good people and they put more good out in the world than they do bad, then I can't fault them for that. So if I close, if me and Angie is going down to Belize, they know we're gonna stay there for a couple months. If they want to come down, they can come down. If they want to come down for a week, they come down for a week. But when they come back, they got the compound, the Grizzly compound right here. It's there. My shit is they shit. I ain't gonna take nothing from them. I ain't gonna say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, because I trust them enough to understand that, hey, they're gonna know that they ain't gonna have nobody disrespecting our shit, because if you disrespect me, you are disrespecting them, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, we are all one, because we are all in the same household. They know what's up. My kids, I'm telling you, man, I am so proud of my girls, and I'll always be proud of my girls, and I will always love them unconditionally, no matter what they want to do, because two of them have their own seeds, which is my grand seeds, and they are raising them right. They teaching them right. They're healthy. They're beautiful, and there's nothing bad that I can say about any of my kids. And I don't, it is what it is. You know, that if they don't want to come down, that's on them. But they know that it's something that's for them.
Right.
We had a really good experience. I was worried about Sean mostly because Sean was older when we moved here in 2017. He had his friends. He was in high school and stuff. But as we did I like to call it our Mexican journey, I was able to get him an internship at the wealth management firm that I worked at, and that really changed things for him. He felt a new sense of independence. Even though we were in Mexico City, we still had to have our head on a swivel.
Yes, down there.
He just had a lot more breathing room than he would have had in Florida. Let me tell y'all, we have a Pathfinder. And when I say we have a Pathfinder, what I should say is that hubby and I finance the Pathfinder and the children use it. They go everywhere all the time. We be here at home, but when they leave this house, I don't have to worry about them getting pulled over or anything horrible happening to them. I do want them to drive safely. Shauna's a great driver, but some of the stresses and negative outcomes and consequences
Yeah.
that we are used to, it's horrible to say that, in the United States are things I don't even have to think about here.
Yeah, and that's what I go back what I said to Randy, you know, knowing the police commissioner, knowing the mayor. So when like she says janky things happen, you could just make a phone call and get
Mayor's phone call
everything.
away. Like you
everything
talk
gets
to him and
cleaned up.
tell him why you pulled me over.
Yeah, and so
Mhm.
it's a real a feeling of relief because we have four sons and we understand what it would be in the United States for black sons driving around by
Yeah.
themselves.
That
in a vehicle.
mostly going into a store, when they go into a store, because the idea is that we're rich here, when they go into a store, nobody's following them around and talk about we think you're stealing and stuff like that. They're like, come on in.
Mhm.
What can we get you? It's a different
Mhm.
treatment. We get a lot of royal treatment when we go to restaurants and stuff like that. So it allows you to A, not constantly be operating in fear. B, you can focus on the things that are important. Here they come. And they bring the wallet and the truck back. um, so it allows hubby and I to focus on our marriage. It allows us to focus on the vision we have for the household, not just financially, but what do we need to be teaching the children in homeschool? Our homeschool doesn't look anything like a public education curriculum.
Right.
Like we have these kids building businesses, doing presentations, putting together NFL franchises operationally, right? This has nothing to do with the plays and the play calling and stuff like that, not the fun side, but just really getting their critical thinking, the algorithm of their mind going, asking the right questions, looking into researching things, debunking things, right? Not just taking things at face value, but like looking into it. Because another thing that the internet brought is that everybody thinks that they're an expert. Everybody comes on these platforms because they say things with utter confidence. When you sit and you listen to it, you're like, none of that's right.
Right.
Nothing you said, ma'am, was right, or nothing you said, sir, was right. You understand what I'm saying? And anybody can say
Mhm.
anything with confidence on the internet, and it just sounds like that's gold. So I do think that people really should take their children, no matter what the age, even if they're adult children, to give them that outside of the United States experience, looking into cultures. Like I said, the only drawback is the amount of time that you need for the experience to be impactful
Right.
is a problem for a lot of people when we're talking about
Mhm.
time off and stuff like that. I hear about companies that you only get 14 days off a year. That's craziness.
Right. And
14 days out of
that was one trip for me.
365? That's nuts.
Mhm.
So, where you need enough time off, like I said, for that experience to be impactful, for you to be able to, I think not enough people reflect. The phone, right? As soon as people have idle time, first thing they do is they go to their phone and they start scrolling. Simon and I
Yep.
often spend a lot of time. Sometimes you're like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking." Simon thinks a
Mm.
lot in the evening. He just sits in his chair and he rocks back and forth and he's thinking. His mind is going. And then when he's ready to share, he'll sit and he'll share with me. I do a lot of, it looks like I'm zoned out, but I'm really thinking, reflecting, um, things that are kind of marinating in the background. Like those things are important. And it just helps
Mhm.
to kind of break you away from the matrix. The matrix does not want you to think. That's why everything is a distraction. Go to this concert, watch this movie, binge this Netflix, binge on TikTok, do this, do that, go here, go there, get out, go to work, come home, go to your second job. And it's so much busyness that there's not enough solace. There's not enough silent time in your day. I don't know if people don't like to reflect. I think some people don't. I think some people don't like to be with their own thoughts. But
You're right.
something you should really train yourself to do, to sit and just think about stuff. See where the thoughts in your mind go. I also say do a thought audit. I had, I don't know where I got the idea from, but about 4 years ago, I did a thought audit, which means like I really paid attention to the thoughts that crossed the threshold of my mind. And there's a lot of garbage in here.
Mhm.
I had to like, I was telling Simon, I started writing them down. Like, where did that thought come from? And the idea is that these thought forms are real. And you have to, the Bible tells you to take that thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. And for those who don't believe in the Bible or whatever your situation is, you still got to take your thoughts captive and make it obedient to something. And when they say something, you got to make it obedient to a higher frequency of thought. PFC Wells said, we also have to remember with the kids, they have a different operational environment. You're absolutely correct from us. The guiding principle can apply, but there's a difference for them. And that's true because they grew up in a different generation. Their collective consciousness does have something new in it. He also said that most folks are not comfortable with silence in their own thoughts. It can be overwhelming and loud. I'm starting to believe that, but had they practiced it from young, you do a lot of housekeeping. We always talk about little Dutty build big dam, right? If you do a little bit of extra work every day, your outcomes are amazing. What people try to do is they have all of the fun in the world, and then they want to do this big, gigantic albatross of a clean, which overwhelms them, and then you go back to bad habits. And I
Mhm.
think that's what the problem is.
This is very true.
You know, discipline is just a little change all day, every day. It's not one big, huge, huge sweeping change that you take on.
That's right.
Did
Absolutely right.
you got some gas in the tank, Grizz, to go into the AI?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, all these companies are going hard on AI. They're gonna go all the way in on AI. So you should go all the way in on AI as well, as far as like having some type of asset that is an AI based asset, like Agix, is AGIX, or what's another one, Randy? Because I think you got some
Fetch
other than
AI.
Fetch
Fetch
AI.
AI.
Oh, okay.
You got there's a couple of them out there. I don't have my little list of everything I'm invested in, but yeah, there's artificial intelligence is here. They had
Yeah,
a special on TV that the police are looking to use robots. Cincinnati police.
Right.
The chief was actually going to invest in some. So it's here. Um, it's just basically about, are we going to be in the right space to capitalize on it?
yeah. Artificial intelligence is going to be. To be honest with you, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I think the so-called old world had these technologies already. I think at some point, this world that we're in right now was set back purposefully by the powers to be in order to slow shit down. And I get it. But because when you look at some of these structures and some of these buildings that was built in the so-called early 1900s. A lot of that technology, these mugs can't build it like that today. So that's letting you know that shit was already here or shit was going on before, now. So AI is something that you should invest in as well because they didn't. Another thing that I wanted to say earlier, when you're looking at these movies are telegraphing what is happening or what has happened. All right. It's a reason why they make these movies. All right.
Mhm.
Like The Matrix, like,
Yeah.
other shit like that, man. That stuff is, there is credence to that. You gotta look at it with a lens to where you can't discount it. All right. Uh, Crazy BX Don said, Chief, please discuss your favorite cold and hot wallets. Me and Randy was just talking about that yesterday. Cold,
Mm-hmm.
cold wallets like Ledger. I mess with Ledger Nano X. I think I'm gonna go and get I'm gonna buy a decent wallet because it's biometric. I can use my thumb or my fingerprint.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, some of these assets that you invest in, are going to be something that is going to take a few years in order for it to come into some type of profitability for you. So you would want to put it on something that's offline, like a cold storage wallet. Um, I use Ledger, but like I said, I'm gonna get a decent wallet. But you also have to understand that me and Randy was talking about this yesterday, and we was looking at shit yesterday. There are other platforms that are going to custody your shit because it's
Yeah.
going to be regulated.
Polygon,
Yeah,
Yeah.
PolySign,
Polysign. Yeah.
PolySign, and Uphold. Uphold is not an exchange. Uphold is a broker dealer that is also allow you to buy stuff like an exchange. But there's a video that I'm gonna send both of y'all that the CEO of Uphold, they have a platform now that is already live to where there's 3 keys, and if it's not your keys, yeah,
Yeah.
decent is okay. It's not hard to set up. Uh,
Okay.
there are 3 keys to your assets. You own all 3 of them. You have 2 of them, and then Uphold keeps 1 of them. And the only reason why they keep 1 of them is because one of those 2 keys that you have, if something happens, you will be able to use one of those keys with the keys that Uphold has
Yep.
in order to build another key to get access to your assets that you wouldn't have access to if you lost your keys.
Okay.
All right. Uphold is building something that is or has built something that is very viable and something that is in tune with what you want in order to protect the assets that you invest in. So having a cold storage wallet is something that's optimal because, like I said, some of these platforms and some of these assets are going to be something that you're going to see real 2 to 3 digit from cents, like 0.01 cent on up to dollars to 2, 3, 4 digits. It'll
Mm.
take it's like everything else. It takes time in order for the asset to mature and to get adoption and to get the investing that it has and liquidity inside of it in order for it to be something that you would want to take profit. All right. Um, okay. What I'll do, crazy BX Don, I'll send the video to Aaron, and Aaron will put it out in an email. What y'all need to do is make sure that y'all put y'all email in so that they can
Yeah.
email you guys and you can know when we have another discussion and you can get information when we're not online. Okay.
Mhm.
It's one of those things to where, everybody's busy, we're all doing stuff because we're all caught up in this matrix of the
Yeah.
U.S. and the matrix of other countries that have a lot of stuff going on. But just make sure that you send your email so that they can put you on the email list, and I'll send that video, and you'll be able to do your own research. With all things, you want to do your own research so that you can understand what you're getting yourself invested in, because you don't want to just blindly grab some shit because somebody said that you should grab it.
So what we got here? Okay, got you. All right. Yeah, so that's a great explanation, to a way to seeing, like you said, things of value that you should be invested in, and having asset allocation towards.
Yeah.
Uh, it's real, It always, like you said, new stuff is always popping up. We have to do a lot of due diligence to see what's worth putting money in, what's not, how much you want to put into it, and whatnot. So as far as when you talk about things that have use case, right?
Yes.
And then when you kind of juxtapose that against something like Bitcoin, which maybe the use case isn't as big as some of these other things, but it's more about this keeping what would you call purchasing power, value, investment. They still call it real estate, digital real estate. Is that something that you see as a separation when you're trying to use these digital assets, when you see the different use cases and things that they are?
Are you saying that you know like investing in the metaverse and all of that?
Yeah, where you see different things, because you have to, like we said, once you get to a certain level, you have to protect your wealth as well. You might put something to
Yeah.
the side where you're going to try to, make some substantial gains, but you also have an amount that you worked hard your whole lifetime to build. You want it somewhere where, it won't just be taken away by the volatility and things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, cold storage wallets are something that you should have. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to just have all your stuff in a hot wallet, like a software wallet. Whenever we say hot wallet, we're talking about a software wallet. And the reason why we say it's hot, or reason why they say it's a hot wallet, is because it can be connected to the internet at any time. When you tap on it on your phone or on
Mm-hmm.
your on your device, it's
Mm-hmm.
hot. It means it's on
Yeah.
the internet. So you want to protect it, and you want to make sure that you got your keys on something that is offline. If it's something that's going to be a long-term hold, to where you're not going to take profit during the next bull cycle.
Yeah.
It's speaking in terms of the metaverse. You know, I'm like what Aaron said. I identify with what Aaron said. I am not going to invest in some virtual property, because to me, that's bullshit. I don't want to go somewhere to where I got to put on. I don't want to invest in something to where I got to put on a headset in order to interact. I want to be able to drive or fly to it and put my
Mm-hmm.
feet on the damn ground in
Mm-hmm.
order to be a part of it. Okay, because that's why they call real estate real estate. That means it is something that is tangible, that you can interact with physically in order to get whatever value that you want to get out of it. I don't play. My daughter asked me one time. She was spitballing. She was throwing shit out, asking if we should get one of my grand seeds a headset. And I was like, nah, I ain't buying him that shit. I said, if you buy him that, that's on you, but I'm not buying him that, because I want him to be connected to reality. I don't want him to be messing around in the virtual world all the time, because, to him or to her, who, depending on the instance, it could become real to them. But in all actuality, they can't actually physically go there. And to me, that don't make no damn sense. I want something that I can actually interact with, like physically, like go there and say, I want to put a structure on this plot of land that I bought, as opposed to putting a virtual structure on a piece of virtual land that you spent your hard-earned real currency dollars on.
Mm.
I ain't never doing that shit. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all can do it if y'all want to, but I ain't fooling with it.
Hmm. And I like what you said. You said putting a structure on the land, and that's a good question I have for Randy, because I've been down here in Mexico, and there's a lot of restrictions depending on your visa status, whether you can buy land or you can buy like a condo, right? So, you know, for
Yeah.
example, here, if you are a tourist visa or something like that, then maybe you can buy a condo in the city,
Yeah.
but you
So
can't.
Randy, I think he went on a run because he ain't in there no more.
Oh, you're not okay. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. So I'm sorry. I seen his picture,
But I can answer it for you.
but yeah, like if you went down to Belize, because I know the benefit in Belize would be owning land more so than a condo. But you probably would you have to get your paperwork situation up to where you are a resident, and or you know some kind of you know whether you know or could you be a pensionado as they call them here, to own land instead of just owning maybe a apartment or something like that.
Yeah, I think that you would have to have some type of pensionata status or some type of residency status in order to own land in one of those countries like that. You want
Okay.
to deal with a country that's friendly, that,
Mhm.
you know, because it ain't something like if you're not an actual citizen or a resident of Mexico, I don't think you can own land in Mexico, right?
No, you can't own land. You can own a building or you can own a condo, these things, but you can't own the land.
Yeah. So in Belize, you can own the land. If I buy a plot, I own that plot. And then if I want to put a container home on it, or if I want to put a regular, you know, wood frame construction home on it, I can do that. So yeah, you can do that down there. So, and that's one of the reasons why we want to do something like that. Um, we want to do something like that in that area. And Crazy BX Don just typed
Okay.
in
Okay.
government type in Belize. Is it stable? Yeah, it's stable. And you don't have a whole bunch of foolishness going on. You don't have a whole bunch of craziness going on as well. It's a stable government. When I was down there, I have no issues. I have no issues with the authorities. I have no issues with anything. Now, I'm not the type. I'm not the type to. I'm not the type to start shit or do anything like that, you know. But I didn't have any type of, you know, bad vibe, anything.
Hmm. And you know, for the people we talk to, I know Belize is a lot of people like Belize because one, you know, you don't have that language barrier, and two, you know, the people they look like you, so
Yeah,
people like that place. People like Belize. It's a great place. I know some people from Belize. We've been to Belize. You know, when you deal with other countries, you may have that language barrier, which is significant when you start dealing with legal documents, right?
yeah,
You could be fluent in Spanish, but once you start talking about legal Spanish, now it's a different level. Now this is when
exactly.
you definitely got to have a lawyer in place in that instance. So you
You're
know,
right.
so it just depends on you know what you want to take on. I'm glad I have young sons. They are very fluent, so they take care of a lot of the minutia that I don't feel like dealing with, you know, with as far as that goes. But yeah, you know, so there's different options. That's why I say to people, we live in Mexico, but I'm not saying that's the only place. I wasn't an advocate. I say pick what works for you. Whatever
Exactly.
works for you is the option. Is what? It's over 200 countries in the world, right? Countries
Yeah,
in little territories. Man, you can go anywhere. Just you know, just pick what works for you, for your family, for your budget, what you're trying to do. And yeah, man, I look at a lot of different places. I've been looking at Spain. A lot of people have been talking about Spain. I was never a big fan of Spain, but I've been reading about it, and I said it might not be a bad opportunity and a bad choice for people. So
you're
you
right.
know, So I keep my eye on all these places, man, just to see what it is that you can do, what they're offering you. Spain is offering a golden visa. Yesterday, we talked about a golden visa that El Salvador is now offering for, I guess, what you would call like large Bitcoin owners, and either Bitcoin or USDT tether. I guess you have to be over, from what I read, over $1 million worth of Bitcoin and or tether, and you have a visa that you can work with there in El Salvador.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you had read anything about that, if you had any thoughts on it.
Well, you know, when it comes to, I'm kind of careful with Tether right now because,
Okay.
you know, with them saying that they have a digital version of the US dollar, the US is very proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come after Tether. All right. And the reason why they're going to come after Tether is because they know that Tether is representing a digital version of the US dollar, and they know that the reserves may not be up to par.
Okay.
Anytime, and being the US, you know how proprietary they are, you know how controlling they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going to represent their currency, they are going to have some type of hold on it or some type of foot in it. All right. So USDT is going to be something that is going to be either regulated or taken over like they did the Binance.
Yeah.
Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got to think about stuff like that when it comes to these assets. Tether is something that, when you go and ask them about their reserves, they kind of hush hush about it, or they kind of, oh, okay, we got it, it's all good. But when certain entities ask them to give them information on it, they are kind of shaky on that and they don't want to do it. And that's something that now I would, if it was that, I would rather do something like that in El Salvador with Bitcoin as opposed to Tether, because right now Bitcoin has a green light.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Voice of Crypto had said
Okay.
that I need to try the Meta Oculus.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said you were skeptical too, but you tried boxing. Now, see, to me, boxing, if I'm going to box, I'm going to box somebody that's real. They're going to hit me, I'm going to hit them.
I'm too old for that.
I'm too old for that shit. But, if I was in my 20s, like when you first met me,
Yeah.
shit, I'm coming from the shoulders, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to try I don't want to try Meta Oculus, one, because Facebook is something that is, to me, I feel that it's something that is your boy, what's his name? What's that guy's name that own it? Zuckerberg. Yeah, Zuckerberg is in with the government on it. And, it's just not for me. I don't want any virtual anything. I want real everything. I'm a real type of person. I want something that is real and tangible. You get the feeling, that you are in it when you got those VR glasses on, but you are not really there because you are where you are. You can go into the metaverse with those on your head, but you are not really there. So you can do it. I'm not doing that shit. That ain't me. So, and the other one was Crazy BX. Chief R. Gordon would retaining Spanish legal concert services still be appropriate in Belize since it's surrounded by Spanish nations.
They don't speak Spanish.
English is the native language in Belize.
Yeah.
So when you go down to Belize, mostly everybody speak English.
And a lot of them don't know any Spanish.
Yeah. There are a lot of Mexican or Latin people that's down there that speak Spanish, but it's an English speaking nation. Okay.
But understand that it is surrounded by all Spanish speaking nations on every side. So I think knowing Spanish
is an advantage.
It's an advantage, and having maybe legal counsel who is bilingual probably would be helpful and the proper thing to do.
Like
Right.
Guyana's the only English-speaking country in South America.
Yeah,
Yep.
None of them know Spanish.
yeah, but it's
Right.
surrounded, some Venezuela, Brazil.
Don't even make sense.
Yeah, because
At all.
really they should be
I'll be
knowing
right back,
Spanish
y'all. I'll be
and
right back.
But yeah, they typically don't.
I'm gonna just grab a little drink of water.
Yeah, the areas. Yeah, so at the borders, you'll get a lot more diversity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Colonel, with the Spanish speaking. Like for instance, my cousin came to visit me. What was it in April?
Okay.
With my mom.
Yeah.
She's from Belize,
And
and my mom had no idea the girl didn't know any Spanish, which is why she brought her with her to Mexico, kind of help her get through. No, it's avocado salad to help her get through, customs and stuff through the airport because my mom doesn't speak. My mother's Guyanese, surrounded by all of these, Spanish. She don't know no Spanish, and she looked Puerto Rican. So, so it really throws people off because they're talking to her in Spanish, thinking she knows it because she has like a Hispanic look. So, so you don't have to worry about that. But like Simon said, at the border areas, that's when you get that diversity with the Spanish and the English speaking Belizeans. In Belize, it's English, but it's like a broken English, and West Indians call it patois. So somebody could very well be speaking English to you, and you have no idea what they're saying to you. Yeah, the zones. And Colonel, you from the Bronx. You should be aware of what I'm telling you when I say the West Indians speak patois. Huh?
I know the Colonel speaks Spanish.
Colonel, do you speak Spanish growing up in the Bronx and having all those Puerto Rican and Dominican girlfriends when you were young? Probably gonna be like, no. I thought I asked you this once, but then I don't remember if you said you picked it up along the way. And plus, San Antonio, right? We should all be fluent in Spanish, spending all that time that we did in San Antonio. But avocado salad. Oh, you heard me tell them avocado salad. Yes, I'm trying to do 45 days of avocados. Who's in Spanish Honor Society and can't speak a lick of Spanish? Who's in the Spanish Honor Society in high school and needs his wife to do all of the technical transactions here in Mexico? Who had a 5.0 in Spanish and don't know how to say welcome? That guy. He said, I was thinking long term, especially with the real estate investments. Oh, yeah. Are you thinking about moving to Belize, Colonel? That's awesome. You should be used to the heat, right? With San Antonio and stuff. But if you go to Belize, Colonel, you should definitely stop off here in Mexico first and come visit with us. We would love that. But did we get to wrap up AI? I'm finished cooking, y'all. I promise I won't have to leave again. Huh?
Oh yeah, Randy had a run, so that's the day in the life of a firefighter. Salute to Randy.
18?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
everyone, I didn't have much else, man.
Yeah, because we're at the 2-hour mark, and I think that's a lot for people's attention span and deep thought it. Grizz, you got anything else before we wrap up?
No, not really. I just appreciate everybody that joined in, vote conversation, and spark thought. This is a forum that we all are embarking in that allows us to speak our mind and allows us to interact with each other in a positive way. And I just thank y'all for being positive and thank y'all for joining in. This is something that we need to do at least twice a week, if not more, because we're getting into a time to where these assets are going to start appreciating and making us a little bit of wealth or a lot of wealth, depending upon how you're invested. And anytime you have somebody that is thinking in the same frame of mind that you are, there are little things that you can get from them to where it can make you do things a little bit differently that could possibly help you out even more. And that's what I really, really like about this.
Yeah, and I want to, because we talked about it in a few shows, we want to get you back on. We need to talk about, I always call it paperwork, but getting your trust and the different way of having things set up if you are going to build up these assets so that they can be passed on in the correct manner, and don't let the government, the state get involved and get their hands on it, because that's what
Yeah,
they want to do. We already know that's what they want to do. So we want to talk about having things set up the proper way so that it goes to where you need it to go to.
Without the
exactly,
least amount of interference and
Yep.
external
exactly.
hands.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
was
definitely like to talk
lucky.
about that.
I'm lucky to have a neighbor that is a trust attorney,
Oh
and
wow.
I can just walk through my backyard into his backyard, and talk to him and interact with him about it, and get it. We got everything. Me and Angie went and got everything set up, and
That's perfect.
and I made it a point to tell him, like, look, as things change, will we be able to? He was like, yeah, anytime you want to change anything, just holler at me, let me know, and we'll change it, this, that, and the other. So, you know, get an attorney, get an estate attorney that you feel comfortable with, that you can talk to, and that you can get your will and trust set up. And I would suggest getting both of them. You know, you spend a little bit of money on the front end to where in the back end you're good to go. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And the people get 100% of whatever you're leaving.
exactly. She is absolutely right. So, you know, just think of it like that, because it is truth in the saying that you got to spend money to get money sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is. Because
Yeah.
your wealth is going to be built, and it's not going to be built overnight.
No.
So don't think that this is some quick shit. This is some stuff that we're gonna have to journey through. It's gonna be trial and error at some point, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be trial by fire sometimes.
And
So
like I said, this is a multifaceted, multi-dynamic, multi-systemic process that we're going to,
Mm-hmm.
that we're going through. A lot of people think, if I save this amount of money, if I buy this amount of Bitcoin, that answers, that's the solution to my problem. And that's why I'm like, no, right? Your mindset is the solution to your problem. Seeing how the world thinks and operates against you is a solution to your problem. You renewing your mind, you
right,
critically thinking about things, not, going for the okey doke, really asking questions, learning how to do research,
Yeah.
being resourceful. That that is what builds generational wealth.
Mm.
yep,
Um, so that's
Okay.
really what I would like to leave them with.
We got a couple comments. Anybody?
Yeah, so Drupka Conley, this was their first live.
Okay.
Said that they came for crypto, got spiritual transmutative knowledge. Wow.
Okay.
So we appreciate that comment.
Yes.
Drupka is truly grateful, a lot of gratitude, divine grace, Big Mama Prime creator. And then the Colonel said, but I was going off Gordon's strategy with getting Spanish attorneys. Yes, 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 and yes. I was thinking if I was to get land in those areas close to those Spanish nations, you definitely want to do that then.
Yeah.
But the issue is you really got to vet your attorney, because just like America has snake oil salesmen,
Oh,
it's
boy.
even worse here. So you really
Yeah.
got to vet. Don't just
yeah,
assume because somebody's an attorney that they are one.
Let me and so let me go in. I don't want to take this down too far, but we had talked about this a good while back about our brother in Colombia, and so sometimes these attorneys can be
In on it.
in on it, right? So
yep,
that's another thing, you got to vet them so good to make sure they're not in on it, because they know the person selling the real estate, they
They
know
know the person buying
they
it.
know the other real estate attorney, they know the person what's it called, the agent. They know the
Yeah.
agent.
And they're all working against
They're
you
all working against you to get as much money as they can from
without
you.
giving you the property.
Yeah, so you have to definitely be careful in that. That is where coming
need
into a
help.
community and knowing people of influence in the community where they can point you in the right direction. Like, no, this is my attorney,
Mm-hmm.
right? Go to that attorney. So sometimes when you get down there, you want to build relationships with people of influence. And then the people of influence can kind of move you in the right direction. Like, use my attorney, or this is the,
Yeah,
when you know somebody like the mayor or
Yes. The staples in the community.
yeah, so
And you become a staple in the
and
community.
you become a staple
Right.
in the community. Yes.
The energy you always want to give off is
I would
you're
have got
not
it. Just
taking
sit it
from
down.
them. You're not raping them. You're not exploiting them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why we were able to kind of
It's one
become
in
a
there.
staple in our community, because we pour more in than we actually take out. So people are always willing to vouch for us, do everything above board. Don't take opportunities. When I say don't take opportunities, if there's an opportunity to kind of get, what do I want to say? You know what I mean when I say don't take opportunities.
Yeah, when you can
Don't take advantage.
we
Right?
get that.
Always be above board. Give a little bit more than you receive, and your journey will be a lot more profitable in a sense.
So
Yeah.
definitely building those connections before you start investing your money. And also when you're investing your money in these, when you're talking about physical land and property and these things, definitely have the long term, like the chief said, zoom out and understand the maybe the
Absolutely.
political scene.
And the political forecast, what it looks like, because
Because
countries can destabilize overnight.
smaller countries will turn on a dime. That's what you have to be careful of, because a place like Mexico, which isn't a small country, won't turn on a dime. The regime will change. You'll have a different president, this, that, and the third. But small countries like Belize,
Ecuador, Belize, even Guyana. I don't know if you guys noticed. Now all of a sudden, Guyana may be at war with Venezuela over Essequibo. Nobody expects that, right?
So
So
these things turn on
gotta
a
be
dime,
careful.
right? Venezuela was a great country, if you guys remember, until Hugo Chavez died. And then Venezuela
Then it destabilized
it destabilized. So you got to watch these smaller countries. They'll destabilize with the
in a
quickness.
heartbeat.
And so you got to, even El Salvador. El Salvador is on top of the game because
Right now, yeah.
because of President Bukele.
But God forbid anything happen to him. May God protect his life. But if something did happen, it would destabilize the country right now.
Instantly. So always keep that in mind when you're investing. Smaller countries, they can be destabilized quickly, and they can just come and say, you don't own this property anymore.
Yes.
And that's that.
And they took it.
Or
like whatever's in your account. I think Michael Saylor tells a story about, was it $1 million?
$1 million turned into 100,000.
Yeah, the country just took it.
They froze his money.
They needed it.
Devalued the currency, gave it back to him. He went from $1 million to 100,000.
And that was the end of that.
Nothing he could say, nobody he could talk to, nothing he could do about it.
Yeah.
And so that's the risk you take when you
are dealing in these other countries.
And what they would call, some of them are emerging markets.
Frontier markets.
Some are frontier markets, right? Some are developing markets. So you gotta, it's just a lot of research you have to do when you're gonna start putting your money into the land.
Yeah, it's a significant amount of due diligence and research that goes into that.
Word. And I gotta say, I didn't realize that Crazy BX is a colonel.
Yeah, that's the colonel.
My bad, dog.
Yeah.
No, we talked to him that day. You remember?
But he didn't realize.
Yeah, but I ain't know his handle and shit. So.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him the other day. I sent him some shit. So
Yeah, that's the colonel.
But
boy.
we are so grateful that you guys enjoy the content. Please, I typically don't ask, but please subscribe to the Simon Family Investment Ventures channel. Chief is going to have his channel available up here next time we go live.
Yep.
Please subscribe to our channels, like the content. Those are the things that support us. Everything we give you guys is from our heart. We don't ask for any money or anything like that, but
No.
I am going to start asking for you guys to subscribe to our personal pages and to like the content on our personal pages. That would support us a lot. Dripka, thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate that you love this show so much. Share it. I love to see all of the scripture you guys write in the chats. I'm supposed to be witnessing to the world. I'm supposed to be saving souls. I'm trying to do it by example, though, right? And sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. So, if any of you need prayer, if any of you want to do Bible study, if you feel the calling of the Most High in your life and you don't know what to do and you want somebody to help walk you through it, please email me. I answer every single email. PFC Wells said that he emailed us, but I did not receive his email. So if he watches the end of this show, please email me again and just make sure the email address is correct. And we will write you back, call you, whatever you need. I do a verse-by-verse Bible study. So as comprehensive as this show is as comprehensive as my Bible study is. And I promise the Most High, the Most Holy One, that I would, try my best to witness. It's not my job to win souls, but it is my job to witness and to lead by example.
There we go.
people to the kingdom. So hopefully Simon and I are doing that. This is my Siamese twin, y'all. Y'all know that we're joined at the heart. So the email address, Dripka, is actually in the drop down. It's in the description box. So if you click on the description box, I know we didn't get to talk last night. I ended up going live, Lavandi. I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to give you, hopefully, maybe I can call you tomorrow after church. And Dripka, yes, my email address is actually in the drop down. Okay, good, you got it. But we do prayer. This is the time of year where people are lonely,
Yeah.
people are suicidal. You know, I can't say the word, it will
Yeah, we
get
good.
cut.
Yeah, we
And
good.
Simon and I are always here. Chief is always here. We will talk to you if you know somebody, like it's not me, but it's somebody and it's a complete stranger. We will sit and talk to them as well. We do FaceTimes, all of that, and everything is absolutely free. This is our contribution to the universe on
Word.
behalf of us being
Yeah, our
blessed.
family, your family. You know, come on in. We'll kick
Yes.
it.
So we will have some more content for you next week. If you need anything, again, the email address is in the drop down. Grizz shared a lot of the articles in there. Some of it we went over, some of it we didn't get a chance to go over. So you guys take a look at those articles, and if you have questions, we can definitely discuss it in the next live. We kept you guys way too long.
Yeah, and definitely we're gonna go over those trusts pretty soon, Chief. We gotta get the trust and the paperwork together so everybody's prepared. We gotta be prepared.
And
out here.
Chief is probably going to be on the show moving forward. We're hoping that that's something he's able to do. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
we love you
Most
guys
definitely.
so much, and
Yeah.
we appreciate the interactions we have. We don't take them for granted. So thank you so much for hopping in, popping in, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Yes.
Grizz, stay on. Don't hang up.
All right.